Hello, my lovely, lovely witches. How are we all today? I hope you've had time for making art magic, working in your journals or books of shadows. Today I thought I would have a chat with you about what I'm currently working on. So what you see before you is a big pile of unfinished projects, all book projects. For various reasons that I want to bring you this video, which I will get into shortly. So, firstly, I wanted to address the social media comparison stuff. And what I mean by that, and this is something that we all experience, I was prompted to make this video by a lovely follower who jokingly wrote me a message, and they said something along the lines of, just stop what you're doing because you're making my own practice feel inadequate. And it was all meant in fun, and it was really a compliment. However, I wanted to address that and point out that social media is, by its very nature, a lie. Basically, it's a lie. You know, I bring you these videos of things I've created. That's not a lie. But it might look as though I'm really prolific, or I'm, you know, working on things and doing more than you might be doing, or what have you. And as I said in my response to this lovely follower, you should never, ever, ever compare yourself to others. And I do this all the time. One of the things that I find myself, I follow some really amazing art people on Instagram and on YouTube, and some of them are witches. And I see them doing their daily bullet journaling, and I'm like, I feel inadequate. I don't have time to do that shit, because they're not just doing that, they're also creating all these other things as well. And that makes me feel like I'm not doing enough. Whoa, that's just not true. And it's not true for any of us. All of us have different lives, different lifestyles, different demands on our time, different levels of energy, different levels of creative inspiration. And that's perfectly acceptable to just do you. No one's practice looks exactly like someone else's practice. You know, I can look at other YouTubers and think, oh, you know, I wish I could create that way. Well, of course I can't create that way, because I'm Corrigan. I'm not someone else who creates differently. I create the Corrigan way. And if I start comparing myself to other creators, all I'm going to do is make myself feel bad. It's not helpful. It's not true. You know, I know that some of those creators I'm talking about would turn around and say, but I'm frustrated because I can't create like Corrigan. So, you know, what I'm saying is, don't ever think that. Don't stop. When you feel yourself comparing yourself to others, whether it's me or any other creator on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, just stop and say, no, I won't do that. So I wanted to get a little bit real with you, but also give you something that will still be visually pleasing. So I've got this big pile of books, and I'm just going to get some of them out of the way for now, so that I can properly... It's not going to be a full flip through video. It's going to be a little bit more like my first book video, where I'm just going to show you snippets and bits and pieces of some books. Right. So first things first, I think I've said this already I'm doing a lot of courses and prompt programs this year. So in order to keep all of that straight, I've created some little notebooks for myself. You know, I love to create a junk journal. And these are notebooks. I won't show you too much about what's in the courses because they are paid courses. And this is something that's really important. I've paid the creator for these courses. Therefore, it is not okay for me to share their work on my channel. If you're interested in the courses that are paid courses, you have to go and pay for them yourself. Having said that, if you're not in a position to be doing courses that you have to pay for, there are lots out there that are free. And one of those is not so much a course, but it's amazing, and that's the Art for a Spell 365 art prompt by Megan the Moon. She's been doing, she hadn't intended to, but she's been doing daily videos on all of her prompts, but she's literally coming out with a sort of low pressure art prompt every single day this year. I mean, she's just incredible. Talk about feeling inadequate against other people. Wow. I mean, who does that? Who can come up with and create and make something to share and inspire others every single day? So applause to Megan, because she's not only doing that, but she's also still creating her own art and journals. Whereas I come out with a video every few weeks, sometimes it's a couple of months, because it's a lot of effort, guys. And I love doing it. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't, and I get paid for it. But yeah, to be doing that every day, wow. So this is literally just to keep my prompts straight. So I'm doing 2 Molly Roberts courses. One is the Art Magic Almanac, which is a weekly prompt for the year. So I'm just making my notes in this little junk journal for that. I have done very little of this year because I've also been focusing on the 7 Keys to Unlock Your Creative Force course that she's been doing, and that's a weekly course for 7 weeks. So I have been doing those course lessons. So I haven't been doing as much of these, and I've been just occasionally when I'm feeling like it. When the 365 art prompt first started, I was actually on the Christmas summer holidays. So I actually had time and I was able to do them pretty much every day. Since then, I've had to slow down, and I'm just writing them all down because I know there will be points where I decide I want to do them, and at the moment I don't have time. And this is what I'm saying. Sure, I've signed up for these things, but that does not mean that I can do all of them, plus all of the other shit that I'm doing. And believe you me, I'm doing heaps. So, I'll start with, you guys will have already seen some of the pages in this. This is my current Book of Shadows. And you've seen, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, many Books of Shadows tours, so you're very familiar with the sorts of things that go in it. This is obviously not finished, but I've done some spell work. I shared this spread on Insta, and I shared this spread on Insta. This is a creativity spray, spell, so stuff. I hope I'm all in frame. Yes, I'm still all in frame. Okay. I never quite know, and I know I'm a terrible YouTuber for doing things in and out of frame, so I just have to check. So anyway, this is my current Book of Shadows. I started this in January. I'm still working through it, and I've got a lot of blank pages left. Bearing in mind, of course, that I actually don't work chronologically in my books. It's not a very big book. I'm learning slowly that I make very, very fat books, and I can't stop myself from making very, very fat books. So if I make a junk journal, I don't tend to want it to have too many pages, or else it ends up, I mean, this is not even halfway there and it's already getting alligator. It's going to end up, crazy. So that's that. That's my book that I work in whenever I want to record some magic, whenever I want to do an art spell in my journal. You're all familiar with that. So that's that. So what else am I doing? Well, I'm going to show you a couple of projects that I started either anything up to 2 years ago. So you might see some of my projects and think, oh my God, I've created all of these things in the last few months. This is not the case. So this is a little one. I think I mentioned in a previous video that you may or may not have seen my little book of moons, which was a little book that I made using playing cards, slipped into a sort of photo album with just moon drawings and collages and paintings. And I enjoyed it so much that I thought I'd like to do another one. So I made a little junk journal, and I have indeed been creating some moon artworks in it. As I said, I think I started this one, I think I started about 18 months ago. And we're still going. You know, there's a lot of pages that are blank. Any of these and all of these, I may well show you flip throughs of them when they're complete, if you're interested. So that's a current project that's been on the go for a long time. I like this little project because if I don't have much time, it's quite quick to do a page in this little book. But there's quite a lot of pages in this book, and as you can see, I haven't yet chonked it up. I've tried to allow myself plenty of room for the chonking. And yeah, so that's one that I'm currently working on alongside my Book of Shadows. And this one I started and talked about a little bit on my Instagram in sort of mid last year. And it's a book that I'm learning or delving into my Scottish heritage in both folklore and witchcraft and a little bit of history. So this is a book that mostly just has writing in it. It's contents page. So I sort of set this book up to write in. It may have some artwork in it. I don't really know yet because I haven't got all the way through. But as you can see, I've really prepped pages to write on rather than left them blank because I don't know whether I'm going to make art on them or whatever. So predominantly a writing project. I haven't got very far into it. As you can see, I've done about 3 or 4 pages. And I started it, as I said, mid last year. Haven't touched it in months. That's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up over starting a project and not completing it within a certain period of time, because what does it matter? I'll complete it when I complete it. It's all good. So this is just sitting on my shelf at the moment with the reference books that I currently am using for this research. And, you know, when I feel called to get back to it, which I haven't done for months, I'll do it when I'm ready. So that's a little research project. I'm also creating myself another little reference book. As you all know, I have my big herbal, which is great. And I have my grimoire, which is also great. And I have a mini sort of correspondences book on herbs, which is also a good reference book. And I've decided to create myself another reference book on crystals. And again, this is a project I started, it's probably a year ago. And again, I haven't got very far through it. I've got a whole lot of notes to make. I've just started with some basic crystals. There's all my notes. These are notes from other notebooks and things that I had on crystals. And as you can see, I've done 1, 2, 3 pages. It's not the most exciting book to put together, to be honest. And that's probably why I haven't done much in it yet. It is a reference book, and it will be fantastic when I've done it. But there's a lot of work to come, and that's okay. I'll get back to it shortly, hopefully. It's missing a book corner. It's got one book corner there, and it's missing one there. So anyway, that's another little junk journal reference book. I also wanted to create a book on runes, but I have plenty of reference books that I can go to look up meanings and things of runes. I wanted to do an exploration of runes in an art sort of way. And this was a book, it was A Tale of Two Cities by Dickens. It's an old edition, but it was somewhat falling apart. You can see it's getting pretty old and the edges were pretty worn. So I've the works of Corrigan the Crone, and I've written my own title on the front. And what I did was I rebound the pages, only the number of pages that I wanted, and that's enough for all of the runes. Each one on a double page spread, plus a page or two at the beginning and the end, in case I want to put an index or a contents page or something. And again, I've only done a couple of pages in this. This one's complete. This is Fehu. And as you can see, I've mostly used the pages of the original book, interspersed with some blank coffee dyed pages. This is Uruz, but not quite finished. And you can see these are the blank pages ready to work on. I actually did put a clear gesso on all of these pages, especially as this paper was quite thin and fragile because it's old, and that helps because it's essentially a kind of plastic. It holds it all together. And then I've started to prep. This is going to be Thursor. I've started to prep a few more pages in, ready to collage on them. And again, I don't see this as being a particularly long-term project, and in fact, I'm hoping to get this one complete within 6 months. I'd really like to do one spread a week. That would be about 6 months. I am probably not quite there because I did start this at the beginning of the year and I've got 1.5 spreads done. So at that rate, it won't be finished for 2 years. So we shall see. Hoping to get that one done in 6 months. It's an enjoyable one to work on. So those are some reference books that I've been working on. This is another one that's been in the works for ages. I started this a little while ago, and coincidentally, I talked about a little art project that I did on one of my Art Witch show and tells, and said how I work with Bast or Bastet, Egyptian cat-headed goddess, and was asked to share more about what I do to work with her. And I was like, oh, well, I would like to make that video. I really would. And that's the truth. But it would be nice if I had finished my book dedicated to Bast before I talk about working with Bast. Guys, I'm nowhere near finished this book. Nowhere near. There's a few pages prepped with some images, but I haven't even started to put my information in yet. You know, and it's not even a very big book, but it's got a long way to go. It's right at it's at its very infancy, and it was probably 8 or 9 months ago, maybe longer, when I started it. Yeah, it's got a lovely squishy cover because it's made with one of those packing envelopes. Again, we'll get there. But you see where I'm going. I start a lot of these projects and you guys will only see them as completed projects. And you might see, you know, one week I put out a Book of Shadows tour, the next I'm putting out a, you know, folio for the Kaliak, and the next I'm showing you a herbal. And it looks like I'm doing these things one after the other in a few weeks. Well, that's not the case. This is a project that I haven't even started yet. I just know what I want to do with this mini book. I found a lot of this gorgeous batik Malaysian fabric in my op shop. I find pieces there all the time, and I always snap them up because it's a type of fabric I really love. And I have made a bunch of these tiny little mini junk journals. And I want to make this one into a kitchen witchery grimoire, purely based on my breakfast or brunch magic recipes. And I haven't even started it. I've made a bit of a start on a list of things I want to put in it, but I haven't started it. And I'm just putting it aside for now, because it's not like I don't have, oh my God, so many other things to work on. That'll be a little project for when I have the right amount of time to just sit down and work in it and get it done. And the last one that I'm going to show to you is my newest created book. So on the weekend, I decided I needed another book project. I can hear you all pulling a face, because clearly I don't. But this was 100% inspired and recommended by the lovely Emily from Fern and Oak Art. I will link her channel to this video, as I will the other creators that I've mentioned. She recommended we were talking about colour, and we were talking about the Sabbats, and she recommended a book to me. And that was this book, Chaos Craft, which is the Wheel of the Year in 8 colours. Now, it is a chaos magic based book, which is not my practice. I've never been terribly drawn to chaos magic. I've looked into it a little bit and sort of thought some things sounded like they resonated, and then other things really, really didn't. But this book is really, really interesting. And it corresponds the 8 colours of chaos magic with the Wheel of the Year. And they are not colour correspondences that I personally necessarily associate with the Sabbats. And obviously there's a bit more to it. There's rituals, and there's things that they've done as a group in here. It's a really, really interesting take, and I know that Emily created a book, a junk journal, to do this, and she shared a video just recently on her pages for Inbulk, which just got my juices flowing. They really did. Like, it just really inspired me, and I was like, okay, I have to buy the book, and I have to do this project. And as I said to her, I need another book project like a hole in the head. But there you have it. At least this one I know is a 12-month project. It will take me this year, and that's all right. So here it is. This is the book that I made on the weekend. This was made, as you can see, I used 2 book covers, but I made a new spine, a really big fat spine, because we all know how chonk I like things, and so far it's got plenty of room to grow. I don't know how that's going to pan out after 12 months, because I never seem to manage to get it to not be, that fat. But we shall see. So this one is a Wheel of the Year journal. So it's going to be very sort of like a Book of Shadows. So it might actually, in some cases, it might replace my Book of Shadows for this year, because it's going to be a working journal rather than a grimoire. And what I mean by that is it's like Emily did. It's going to be the things that are attracting me at the moment, things I'm into at the moment, as well as being somewhat based on this book. It's also going to be my own research, my own topics, and explorations of the colour for each Sabbath. So I made one signature for each of the Sabbaths. This is Lunasa, which they say is red, which is not too far removed from the colour association that I have with Lunasa, which is orange. My least favourite colour for my least favourite Sabbath. And as you can see, I've started a few pages with some talk about some mushroom magic, because that's a current topic that is really getting me going. Some information about Lunasa, and I've prepped a few more pages for some other things that I'm going to do, and I've started an artwork. You know, this is really showing you some unfinished work for sure. So I use 6 pieces of paper for each signature, so that gives me 12 double page spreads, or 24 pages per Sabbath, and colour. And I'm going to look at colour correspondences in depth. I'm going to look at crystals. I'm going to look at other topics that I just might be either finding are popping up for me at that particular time of the year. Obviously talking about the Sabbaths. There might be rituals, there might be recipes, all sorts. And then the next signature is Mabon, then Samhain, Yule. Yule, the colour is octarine, which you may have seen in a video that I did, a spread on the colour octarine, which is from Terry Pratchett's Discworld novels, and it is the colour of magic, and I love that. It just tickles me. So I'm looking forward to creating the Yule pages for sure. And then we have Imbolc, and then we have Ostara, which is orange, which really blows my mind. Color wise, that's a weird correspondence for me, and I'm looking forward to that challenge, particularly as it is my most disliked color. I wouldn't say I have a hatred of orange, but I don't love it. It's not my fave. And then we have Beltane as purple, and Litha as yellow, which is the only one that's exactly the same for me. All the other colours are not colours that I would associate specifically with that Sabbath. So there you go. Art Witch got to do what Art Witch has got to do. And I wanted you to see, the insane number of projects that I've got running at the moment that I know are not going to be completed for weeks, months, or even years. Don't put pressure on yourself. By all means, set targets for yourself or set goals for yourself if that's something that you want to do. And depending on your nature, as opposed to the deadlines other people impose on you, but your own personal individual nature. I'm not much of a goal setter, target setter kind of person. Some people I know are very specific. I have one Virgo friend who is very specific about goal setting. She's very organized because she's very typical Virgo, and she's obsessed with her planner and what have you. And I'm far more Scorpio, and I just I dive in when I'm excited about something, and that's it. And then I've got my Gemini moon that goes, oh, squirrel, and sees another subject that I want to look at, and off I go. So yeah, that's who I am. I don't want anyone to feel, by watching my videos, I don't want anyone to feel badly about themselves. I want my videos to inspire you guys, to make you feel creative and to enjoy what you're doing, and to make you think, oh yeah, I want to get stuck into some art magic, or I want to get stuck into my journal. And if they're making you feel bad, stop watching them. Seriously, life's too short. I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm here to make you feel good and excited and inspired. But I'm also wanting to bring you this because I wanted you to know about reality as opposed to what might appear to be reality in watching videos come out. I have a whole shitload of projects. You'll see them when they're ready. But don't think that I am churning things out left, right, and center, and I've, got all this amazing magic sparks at my fingertips and I'm creating everything really quickly, because I'm not. So I have moments like everyone. We all go through stages of creativity, of inspiration. Your muse comes in sometimes and they're tapping you on the shoulder and getting you all excited, and you have this feverish creative period. And then your muse goes on holiday and sits on a beach somewhere with, her cocktails, and leaves you to fend for yourself. And that's when you kind of go, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to create. You actually need those fallow periods. We all need rest. We all need rest periods, and that is the same for artists and creating. If you don't have those rest periods, if you don't have that downtime, you will burn out, and no one needs that. No one wants that. So if you are in a downtime at the moment, an ebb instead of a flow state, ebb states are fine. Just sit back, enjoy the ebb ride. Go sit and read a book. Go and chill. Go curl up on the sofa with your pets or your partner, and don't stress about the fact that you're not creating. Know that your creative flow will come back in when you're ready. And by all means, go and watch some videos. If they're inspiring to you and make you think, oh, I might start something, create something new. But if they're making you feel bad for not creating, stop watching. Okay. Love you guys so much. You mean the world to me. I've had a number of new subscribers recently. Thank you all for joining me. I'm so glad you enjoy my rambly videos, my very unedited, unpolished, raw videos. I have one coming up for you soon that is about as wobbly as you can get. I'm actually going to bring you a studio tour, and it is badly filmed and it's badly rambled, but I hope you enjoy it anyway. So see you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy the next one, and I hope you enjoy all the future ones. Get creating if you're in a flow state. Chill the fuck out if you're in an ebb state. Stay magical, my friends.